Friends, my greetings to you all. I was to physically come for this meeting, but due to my health issues, I am not able to come for that. My apologies. Now, as far we are talking about health of democracy in India, it is very precarious. The major issue which is happening, apart from other things, is the regular, repetitive, increasing attacks on religious minorities. These attacks are taking in the name of cow beef. We have seen close to 100 lynching. Not only Muslims, but even many Dalits have been lynched on this ground. On many religious processions, like Ram Navami in particular, the religious processions are taken out, particularly passing through the areas of Muslim majority, particularly passing in front of the mosque. There, the mob dances, takes out its weapons, makes a display of them, and sometimes tries to climb on the mosque to remove that green flag and put the saffron flag there. In addition, we have lately seen that on the even minor pretext, the properties of Muslims, they are destroyed with bulldozer. Now this is totally illegal, but it happens with a grave loss to the property of Muslim minority. One case I must bring to your notice, that recently when one procession was passing, Hindu procession was passing, it was accused that three Muslims spat on it. They were arrested and their property was bulldozed. For nearly 3 months, they had to be in the prison without any charge, and they were released after that. Now, this is one of the samples of what is happening to the religious minorities. At the same time, the many Christian prayer attacks, many Christian prayer meetings, they are attacked on the ground that conversion work is going on. Now, this is totally false. Even the regular prayers are being subjected to intimidation and harassment. Now, this, apart from other things, as the party which rules in the name of religion has increased its hold, it has also tried to control all the institutions which are related to India's democracy. It may be Election Commission, Enforcement Directorate, Income Tax, and others. All are being used to suppress the democratic aspirations. At the same time, there is a deep infiltration of communal elements into our education system, into our police system. Judiciary is also made to bend times and over again. Overall, the freedom of expression, which is a fundamental aspect of any democracy, has been given a go-by, with most of the media bowing in front of the ruling government. The role of media is to be critical of the government so that the policies can be improved and better society can be made. Now, most of the media has been made corporate controlled, and it is going to the wishes of the government. Now, this has led to a condition where any affirmative action for minorities is labeled as appeasement. At the same time, this Muslim community is living in a great amount of fear, leading to ghettoization in major cities where Muslim people are not given housing on rent, houses for sale in the mixed locality. This is just an index of how fraternity is under severe attack. Fraternity is a core pillar of any democratic society. Now, in this situation where the hate is the foundational ground for such a type of violence, I must say such a type of violence is not spontaneous. It is orchestrated. It is orchestrated, and it can be orchestrated only because a hate has been seeped into the system, into the social psyche, into the social common sense, in roughly speaking, what Noam Chomsky calls manufacturing consent. That type of a hatred has been made a part of people's thinking most of the time. Now, this has led to the community getting greatly intimidated, and many people call that they have been relegated to the second class citizenship, which may probably be a understatement. Now, in this situation, What is the core cause? Core cause is that India has faced the rise of Hindu majoritarian politics. Hindu majoritarian politics, which is led by the political party BJP, which is the progeny of the so-called cultural organization RSS. This has been working here close to 100 years, and it has, through its shakhas and regular work, spreading the hatred and a particular type of understanding of the society, which regards that Muslims, Christians, and communists, they are the threat to Hindu nation. They are generally trained into the ideology that Indian constitution is based on the Western values and it must be replaced by a constitution based on the Indian holy books. Basically, they try to indicate the values of Manusmriti as the ideal for this country. In addition, they try to propagate a history where Muslim kings are demonized, the examples of temple destruction, forcible conversions, which are totally false, which I will try to send a link of my other videos to Jeevan, who can share it with others. But though this is totally false, based on half truths and a lot of propaganda, but surely this is part of the social common sense, and that social common sense dictates the society's attitude towards these minorities. Now, how can a democracy flourish if politics in the name of religion keeps creating hysteria, keeps creating issues, keeps raising issues which, in a way, divide the society, which are divisive of the society? One of the examples we saw from Babri demolition to the recent inauguration, rather Pran Pratishta, installation of life into the idol of Lord Ram, that whole trajectory sees how, in a very aggressive manner, the flags, saffron flags, have been popularized, and with that, a sense of intimidation to the Muslim community has gone up. I will tell my friends the day Pran Pratishtha program was done by our Prime Minister. Now, at the same day, many Muslims got scared. They remained confined to their home. Their movement in the society was restricted. So, I feel that today's major problem in India is that though we inherited a good constitution, we inherited the values of freedom movement. In this freedom movement, people like Mahatma Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, Jawaharlal Nehru, Mahatma and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, they all contributed to the vision of a society which is inclusive, to the vision of Hinduism which is inclusive. And at the same time, I must say, since Lord Ram is being talked about, for Mahatma Gandhi, Lord Ram was a symbol of moral values. Similarly, our great Saint Kabir, for him, Lord Ram was a universal spirit. Currently, Lord Ram has been presented as a divisive figure around whom a lot of violence has been orchestrated from last 30 years or so. So this, in this way, our other indices, social indices, development indices are also coming down. And I also must point out that amongst all South Asian countries, South Asian countries, India was better off because it had the secular elements which were more focused on the development of society rather than religious issues. I am very sorry to say that in South Asian countries, in Pakistan, the situation is much worse. In Sri Lanka, the situation where Sinhala Buddhism has been a powerful force, it has targeted Tamil, Hindus, Indians in a big number. Similarly, in Myanmar, the Buddhist Sanghas are in collaboration with the feudal powers and the military powers, and again, the democracy is at the bay. Now, in this way, what is the hope for South Asia? Now, the biggest hope for South Asia, sitting in India, I see biggest hope in South Asia is the values which emerge from the freedom movement of India. And these values which emerge from the freedom movement of India, I try to put in three icons. They are just representative icons. The icon of Bhagat Singh, who called for rights of the workers, right of Dalits, then Ambedkar, who talked of equality, and then Mahatma Gandhi, who focused on the fraternity or friendship of different people for a good society. Now, it is this which built the India, which laid the foundation for what we could achieve in first 40, 50 years of the Republic, the development in science, development in rational thinking, development in our public sector, industrial production, and what have you. Now, all this process is being reversed during last 10 years in particular, and from last 30 years, since the intense rise of communal polarized politics, this has been rising. Now, so where do we look for hope? Now, we look for hope in South Asia mainly to come back to the values of Indian Constitution. And this is possible only by countering, rather creating the better narrative of the history of India, civilization of India, which starting from Vedic times to current times, layer upon layer of new values have been added. As Jawaharlal Nehru says in his discovery of India, that India is like a palimpsest where different layers have come and contributed to the culture. Now, from here, what we see that during freedom movement, while on one side the people like Bhagat Singh, Gandhi and Ambedkar symbolically tried to put forward the values which led to Indian Constitution, the communal people, Muslim League on one side and Hindu Mahasabha RSS on the other side, not only kept aloof from the freedom movement but also propagated values which are more related to hierarchy of caste and gender. And that hierarchy of caste and gender is also accompanied by a type of dictatorship which doesn't have a place for democracy. Now, unfortunately, in India, now when on one hand RSS type organization kept training its workers, Swayamsevaks and Pracharaks into the ideology of narrowness, sectarianism, and exclusionism, the values which were propagated by freedom movement were not consciously propagated in the way to the newer generations. Some organizations did work for it to promote amity and to promote the truth. Today, history has become one of the major tools for the divisive politics. Use and abuse of history, especially medieval period, and now also the period of freedom movement, is being distorted in such a way that divisive politics takes the precedence. So what do we do in this situation? Number one, we have to look forward to all those forces, that those who believe in secular values, those who believe in inclusive India, those who believe in pluralism must come together at electoral level. That's an absolute must for India to survive as a democracy. Second thing is that at social level, my own experience is that it is very difficult to communicate the values of amity and the proper history of Indian society without undertaking a mass movement. The isolated efforts which some of us have done, do yield some result, but their results are very limited because the tsunami of hatred created by the politics of propaganda, media, social media, that is like a tsunami which is engulfing the country. It is a very dangerous situation. So all the social workers, I feel, must continue their struggles for a better society, must continue their struggles for rights of farmers, women, Adivasis, Dalits, children, and what have you. But at the same time, all these groups must give some of their efforts to ensure that the values of amity, the correct understanding of history, combating of myths and wrong propaganda against minorities is brought at community level. Now at the moment, we are restricted to some small places, dialoguing with each other, and our voices are not reaching to the community. So I request that all of us who are engaged in a struggle for better society need to begin activities like community centers, community addas, where we meet regularly, fortnightly, monthly, and we try to communicate these values through YouTube videos, through films, through cultural activities, through building small libraries at community level. This, of course, does not substitute the political initiative which is needed at the moment. Political initiative which gives us the message of unity of the country, political initiative which ensures that those propagating communalism, hatred, and divisiveness do not come to power, and those who have continuation, those who want to revive the values of freedom movement, do come back to power. But this must be supplemented by a vast network of community work for countering the hatred, community work for countering the misconceptions regarding Muslim kings destroying temples, spreading Islam by force, and all other atrocities against Hindus. This is totally wrong. Many of us have tried to do it, but not with a great amount of success. There is a need that we all come together and try to spread these things in the community in a sort of a movement where we become stronger in such values. Thank you very much. I'll be open to answering many of this through email or other mechanism. I'm grateful to you. Apologies again, and thank you very much.